Hello everyone, welcome back to GB Bricks. In today's video I'm going to show you a bit of a Lego haul, the sets that I've bought during the month of October. I've got 5 sets to show you, although the footage you're seeing right now only shows 3 of them. There are 2 more to show and I'll explain exactly where they are in a moment. These have come from lego.com, hence the big box. There's one from a Lego store, which is the big Lego bag you can see of course. There's one from eBay and then 2 more from the shop game. So which sets have I been buying during the month of October? Well, let me show you. So the first set I ordered for the month, which was on the 1st of October, albeit it is the last one to turn up, it actually arrived today. This is Mario and Yoshi Super Mario World, set 71438. Now as soon as I saw this set announced, I really knew I was going to grab it at some point. I'm a massive fan of Super Mario World, the game that came out on the Super Nintendo some 30 odd years ago now. I think it was about 1991 if memory serves. And I love pixel art in video games to this day. I think it's a really quite timeless art style to use in a video game. And this is a great representation of the character sprites of both Mario and Yoshi from that particular game. It has the feature of course of being able to turn a crank and Yoshi's legs will move. And you can also extend his tongue out, a feature that of course he had in the game to eat various enemies or other items. And while some people have mentioned that the back doesn't look particularly sightly, owing to the fact obviously a lot of the Technic components are shown there, I don't really see what the problem with that is. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is something you'll put up against a wall on a shelf and never see the back. If you're trying to display it in another way where that's an issue, then fair enough. But for me, this will be shown in a way where you'll never see that side of it anyway. And this is truly a lovely looking set. I've always wanted to try my hand at creating a pixel styled Lego image myself using tiles. Never really got round to it, and then of course Lego themselves announced they were making one, which kind of put those plans to the side for now. It cost £114.99. I'll be honest, I hadn't realised this wasn't an exclusive to Lego themselves. I've seen other places advertising it, whether it's coming out immediately in those places or whether it's going to be a timed release for Lego first, I don't know. I may have waited if it is more widely available for the price to drop, as it usually does with Lego in other stores. I don't usually spend full price on Lego, but if I'm going to do it, it's going to be on a set that I really do have some sort of connection with, and that's definitely this set. And yeah, very happy to have picked it up. Because I ordered it in that period of the first week or so of October, 1st of October as I mentioned, it did come with 2 gift with purchases. The first of those being the Halloween themed creator set. Try and get the glare off that, sorry. There we go. Being the pumpkin, the light up pumpkin of course, and the ghost. Really nice set that. I do like the fact it uses a light brick. Very clever. And a great themed gift with purchase, bearing in mind we're in the month of October. And the second set of course was the brick heads to commemorate, promote I guess, the release of the Fortnite set. Now I've literally just opened this. The box that I showed you in footage a minute ago is down by my feet. I've just pulled the tabs off it, and this is the brick head that I was sent by Lego. I mean, look at that. That is pretty appalling. I think that's the worst box I've ever been sent by Lego themselves. I mean, a few other places have rivaled that, places like Argos over the years, but that is pretty shocking. And it's all the more annoying because the set that I'm going to show you in a minute, which I bought also within this time period for these 2 free gifts, the store that I bought it from had run out of this particular gift with purchase, so I've only got one of these and it looks like that. Yeah, not good. So let's move on to the other set I picked up from Lego themselves. This was in store as I mentioned a moment ago, and this is set 76328, which is the classic Batmobile from the 1960s TV Batman show. 1966 the movie came out. And I have fond memories of that 60s show. I remember going around my nan and granddad's as a young boy, myself and my sister. And once you got there, you know, it's different now with tablets and iPads and all that. But back then you had a TV in the front room and a TV in bedrooms. And we'd always ask if we could go into their bedroom and watch their small TV, like a little black and white telly. And invariably, by the time we got there, this show was on, the 60s Batman. I remember it always ending with a cliffhanger. You know, Batman and Robin trapped by some device of that episode's villains. Will they escape in time? Tune in next week, that sort of thing. So I do have fond memories of the 60s Batman. And the film actually that I mentioned a moment ago, the 1966 movie, was, strangely enough, is one of my daughter's favourite films, because when she was a kid, we had it on DVD, and I mean, it's very colourful obviously back then, the costumes and whatnot, and she was just drawn to this DVD cover, and she watched it so many times. So she loves this show as well. But this particular set is lovely. I mean, what a great representation of what's quite a classic model. You know, I'm not big into my American cars, I must say. Obviously, not from America myself, so I don't know a huge amount about the car, but it's certainly iconic in terms of this Batmobile. Again, I've heard people online mentioning the fact that there are no doors that open and there's no engine and there's the steering. There's no real steering in terms of steering wheel connecting to the wheels themselves. I'm not really bothered. I'm not, if that bothers some people, that's fair enough. But this is a display piece. It's going to go next to my 1989 Batmobile, which is my favourite set of all time. And I also have the tumbler from a few years back, the more recent of the big tumblers. And once that's built, these three will sit proudly together on shelves, I'm sure. And I think this is a cracking set. It's sold out immediately on Lego.com. And I was going to wait a while and buy it later. And then we were in a place that had a Lego store. Wasn't by design, we just happened to be somewhere and they had a Lego store. So we did look in there, and they had a make and take that day for a little games controller that, funnily enough, I made myself in Germany about, 6 weeks ago now, maybe even longer than that, 2 months ago, when I was there for Gamescom. So they've obviously brought that make and take over to other places now, and I was doing that with my kids, and my wife was looking about the store and she brought this set over and said, look, they've got this one in stock. They had one more on the shelf, this was it. So yeah, we nabbed it and picked it up that day. And as I mentioned a minute ago, I did get a second of the Halloween pumpkins, free gift with purchase, but they had sold out of the brickheads. I'm not overly bothered about the brickhead. I don't play Fortnite. Don't really care. But when you've got one on order, like I said, although I ordered that first, it still hadn't arrived at that point. You've got one on order, so you think, oh, that'll do. It doesn't really matter. And then it turns up and it's wrecked. It's a bit annoying. But yeah, back to this set. Very, very happy with this. I do want to do a top sets of the year when the time comes, come December time. And I'll be interested to see if this stays on there or if other sets come that knock it down. We'll see. And let's move on to two sets that I can't actually show you at the minute because I bought them a couple of weeks back and I have a storage locker, and a lot of my Lego sets that I'm not intending on building just yet do go into there. And I plan to capture some footage of these two particular sets, the boxes, and then obviously put them away, and they obviously got put in the wrong pile and I ended up storing them without realising, and I reorganised it recently and put a lot of the bigger sets at the back, and there's no guarantee they'll be at the front now, so if I'm able to find them, I'll flash some footage up. It'll just be the boxes, otherwise you'll see promotional pictures. But the first of those, talking about Batmobiles from one Batmobile to another, is the recent Batman vs Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze animated series Batmobile. This is set 76274, and I seem to remember the animated series started around about 1992. I might be slightly out there, it must have been around that time, because I'm fairly sure it was just after Batman Returns. It obviously used Danny Elfman's score for its opening credits, and it's a show that I never really watched much. I mean, I don't know, I was certainly in the age to watch it at the time. I saw bits of it, but I don't have a massive attachment to this particular Batmobile. For my era there, it was all about the movie Batmobile, but I do appreciate this Batmobile, and I do have a bigger love for Batman and anything Batman related, so picking this one up was a no-brainer, but not at the price that Lego were asking, which was £54.99. So I was in a store called Game, which predominantly sells video games, but they have branched out to sell toys in the last couple of years, including Lego of course, and they had this 20% off its retail price, so about £44 they had it down to, but this particular branch was closing down, so not the whole store, just this branch. And I mentioned this actually in my previous hauls video because I picked up Cole's Dragon Titan mech from Ninjago. So £44 plus they were doing another 20% off that ticketed price owing to the fact they were closing the store down. So what's that, another £8 off? So I got this for £36, which was much more palatable rather than the price that Lego were asking themselves. And for that price, yep, absolutely picking this up. So I have put it in storage for now. It's only a small set, so it's one I could build. But I just want to organise some of my shelf space and make sure I've actually got a place to put it. Because I do have a tendency sometimes to build these smaller sets with that mindset of it's only a small set, and then it ends up on my desk because I've got nowhere else to put it because I haven't really thought it through properly. So I have put it away for now. But yeah, looking forward to building this one. It's also nice to get a Mr. Freeze figure. I do have a Mr. Freeze figure from the 1960s show. It was like a polybag of him that you could get. And I do have another one actually, which came in a set with Batman obviously and Aquaman. In fact, I'll try to flash a picture of that set on the screen. So it's nice to get variations of the same character, and it's also nice to get a Harley Quinn from this animated show, because obviously she originated from this show, and to see her in that garb, I suppose the more popular now Suicide Squad type clothing that she has begun wearing, yeah, it's good to get that figure too. And we'll do the other set that I don't have with me, the same again, it's in that storage locker, but this is the Source Dragon of Motion from Lego Ninjago, set 71822, and again, exact same story, in-game, 20% off, further 20% off the ticketed price. So this goes for £129 originally. So with the 20% they had off anyway, it was down to about 105, and I think ultimately it cost me about £88 once that second 20% had been taken off. Again, unbelievable price for what is a cracking Lego set. I've mentioned a couple of times that I am a big fan of Ninjago, but only recently, last few years, mainly down to my kids, certainly my son, and I've looked at a few of the dragons over the years. I nearly bought the one that they did for Crystallize, which was a four-headed dragon, and I was put off at the last moment. It was about the same price as this RRP, and it just didn't quite click with me, and it's now retired, and it's worth a lot more than that price that I mentioned, about £125 I think it was. I'm not bothered about that because I wasn't buying to sell, but I'm not bothered about it either, in fact that I feel like I've missed it and now have to pay a big price. I'm actually quite happy I made that choice. It still doesn't really sit right with me. I don't quite like that one. I did buy the Water Dragon from the Seabound series, which I chose instead of that one. It was a lot cheaper and I just preferred it, but this is kind of the dragon I've been looking for. This is an amazing looking set. I can't wait to build this one. Again, I'm going to have to wait because I need to make sure I've got space for it, but I really want to at some point do some sort of scene. I've got a lot of mechs now, and I would love to do almost like a kaiju-esque scene of building some sort of landscape of my own and then having one of the mechs and a dragon or something like that fighting. I think that would look amazing. It's not something I'm going to do anytime soon, but one day that's the plan. But yeah, very happy to have this one, and for a really very good price. You know, it's one of those that if I'd have paid full price for it, it's a lot of money, but I would have felt quite happy with it, having got it for so much cheaper. Yeah, absolutely delighted. And the final set then, this one came from eBay, and this is 71775, another Ninjago set. This is Nia's Samurai X Mech, another set that's from the Crystallized run, series, and one again that I looked at when it first released. I wasn't collecting Ninjago then, although it did certainly intrigue me by this point, and I didn't have any mechs. I was looking to potentially pick some up, and this is one that I looked at, and it just again didn't quite sit right with me at the time. I didn't quite like the colour scheme. I didn't like the X on the front. I hadn't really seen a lot of Ninjago then. My kids watched it, but I hadn't really seen much of it, so I didn't really get the significance of the X, so it didn't really mean anything to me. I actually bought in the end one of the Monkey Kid mechs instead. That's the Monkey King Ultra Mech, by the way. But once this one had retired and I'd seen the show by then, I'd seen the Crystallized series, which I quite enjoyed. Looking online, it looks like some people don't like it, and I do get why. It certainly could have been better, could have handled some of its themes better. But having seen it, and then looking at the minifigures in this set, which is something that wouldn't have bothered me at the time because I hadn't really seen the show, but seeing figures like Pi 4 in there, and the mechanic Garmadon in his Oni form, the Samurai X, Nia herself, and also appreciating the mech more itself, because having seen it in the show by that point, I did decide that actually I think I'd made a mistake with this one and did want to pick it up. Now, I got it for £95 on eBay. Now, that is less than RRP. I seem to remember this was selling for about £105. I did look it up at the time, but you would have got it for less than that. It would have been in places like Smith's Toys for 20% cheaper than that at the very least. So I have paid more than I probably could have got it for back then. I reckon I could have got this for about 80 quid. So it is a bit over. It's one of those things, you win some, you lose some. The set itself is actually new, although the tabs have become a little loose. Sometimes they lose their stickiness, and the box has got a few dings in it, but I'm going to build this one, so it doesn't really matter. But the seller wanted, I think it was 115, I seem to remember. I'd looked at it, and then they offered me a price, as happens sometimes. I think they offered me 105, and I countered with 95, and they accepted. And yeah, I'm happy to pay that. It's not ideal because I could have got it for cheaper, but it doesn't matter ultimately. It's an okay price to have another very decent mech in the collection. So there you have it. There are the sets that I've bought during the month of October. I hope you enjoyed this. Please do let me know of any of the sets that you've bought in that time. I've said before that my haul videos are going to be a bit different. I don't go to the store on the first of the month and buy all the new releases or anything like that. Having 2 new releases in 1 month for me is very rare. It was more the source material and that attachment I had to them that made this possible. I'm more about finding sets, retired sets a lot of the time, or even current sets that are, you know, going for a good price. So my haul videos will be a little different, but hopefully quite interesting, because you're not seeing the sets you would expect to see all the time, the new releases, bar 2 in this video, of course. But thank you for watching. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't done so, and I'll see you next time for another video. Until then, happy building.